You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
My name is John Paul Kane. I am a school teacher currently teaching kindergarten. Oh, I'm also a drag performer. Named Facelift. So Drag Queen Story Time, it's just a wonderful time for me to be able to bring my love of working with kids with my performance. I've always been very sort of creative and dramatic. I don't know, there's just something that's kind of magical in the transformation. I know I'm still me. Ultimately, my kids, they influence a lot of the style of how Faye has evolved over the last 10 years. The music that I choose, the sort of brightness of the colors of the costumes I wear. So if anything, the kids have inspired her more than I would say anything else. When you think about it, really, bringing drag performers together with little kids is kind of a perfect relationship. And it's kind of like drag performers are clowns, right? Like they really sort of, they play things up, they're over the top, they're like a cartoon come to life. Welcome to Faye and Fluffy's story time. Reading is fundamental. I'm hoping what the kids get out of coming to story time is an opportunity to see that things that are different aren't scary, that things that are different are amazing. That's kind of what is so incredible about the reading, is that you get families from all sort of backgrounds and experiences and relationships and gender identities and everything, and to see that diversity in people is what needs to be celebrated, and the more that we're exposed to that, the more comfortable we become with each other. The grassroots aspect of what this is that you're giving these little morsels of stuff to these kids who are really honestly some of the most powerful teachers that are out there in the world. So I'm hoping that it's like, you know, dropping a stone in the pond and then it just ripples out.
Hi, hello, and how are you? Who wants to be a drag queen when they grow up? That's another thing to tell your grandparents and your teachers and your neighbors too when they ask you. All right, who is ready for a story? So this story, you read this one? This one is called Worm Loves Worm. I can too, says Worm. We can both be grooms. The hips on the drag queen go swish, 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 swish. The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish. I'm a girl. I'm a girl.
Drag Queen Story Hour is fantastic because it addresses all of these issues of gender fluidity and self-acceptance and all of these topics that are real, are very, very real.
Jazz, 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 jazz. The hands on the drag queen go jazz, jazz, all through the town. But those are people who think that gay people are sinful or evil or, you know, bad to begin with. So, you know, we're sort of just starting from such different places that it's kind of irrelevant to me.
It was great. So much energy. Did you like it? Yeah.
I hope you find something perfect for show and tell. Or hands to hold flowers. And the old dirt.
that's what I'm looking for in all of our outings, is to present different ways of being in the world and make that fun and available to my kid.
I'll wear my sparkle rainbow outfit. Do you get it? Everyone thinks that this girl is a boy because she's a little bit of a tomboy. We wanted to dress kind of cool, but Tiny sort of wants her to dress kind of normal. Who still needs a crown? You do? What color? Who wants blue? Blue. You want blue? Who wants purple?
Well, it is a first for our province. To mark Pride Week, the Edmonton Public Library hosted Storytime with drag queens. For many families with curious young children, seeing a drag queen in person and hearing their stories was a completely new experience. Our Kaylin Small has more on an event that's bridging divides and bringing the community closer together.
It was a dark, dark house. Big personalities and even bigger hair were center stage at the Strathcona Edmonton Public Library today. Local drag queens read stories they wish they heard as kids to kids. The queens say it's important for children to have examples of all the people they can grow into.
Being out and sharing drag with children is really important, obviously, just to give them another perspective on life and to give them options in terms of their peers and role models, and showing them that it is okay to be exactly who you are.
If I would have seen drag queens when I was a kid, I probably would have been all over it.
With stories like The Boy Who Cried Fabulous and a high fashion update on 5 Little Monkeys, the message here hit home with the families who turned out.
I try and be super honest and upfront with my little one about what's going on in the world, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for her to learn this new things.
150 people crammed into the library at the standing room only event. The buzz was electric, the attention was rapt, and the response was overwhelming.
I had tears in my eyes seeing the family stream in here and the excitement where people felt safe and at home, which is what a library should be all about, reflecting the diversity of the world around us, taking down the barriers and the walls to build a more inclusive society.
On the heels of protesters showing up at Pride this weekend, there are still concerns. Wells says these are the kinds of conversations we need to have.
It was disappointing to see protesters out at the Pride Parade. You're always going to have a few voices full of hatred and bigotry, but thankfully they're now in the minority, and the majority was out celebrating our great city.
One fell down and her hair did too. The story time was a first for Edmonton, and those here hope it won't be the last.
California first to allow gender-neutral birth certificate. Isn't that sweet and loving? Well, your baby was born with a penis. Okay, that's a non-gender. Your baby was born with a vagina. It's a non-gender. For those of you confused about whatever sex you are, it's very simple. Just look right down. The answer's right there. It's really easy.
At a major Catholic university in California, someone heard someone, and then some faculty person said, there's a bunch of articles on this, newscasts, you name it. Someone said there was 2 genders, and everyone's panicking in fear, and they're running around calling for the arrest for whoever is a denier of transgenderism, close quote. Just saying you don't say it exists is hurtful, and the police came, and yes, they want to arrest whoever in their weird interpretation of a hate law. Believing in 2 genders is a hate crime under police investigation at Catholic College. The school was so spooked, it called the Los Angeles Police Department. It's uncommon at Jesuit universities these days for someone to openly share a traditional Catholic viewpoint. When it happened at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, the school was so frightened, it called the Los Angeles Police Department. Both the police and the university's bias incident response team are investigating, thank God, the stated belief that only 2 genders exist, male and female, as a hate crime. A Loyola alumni office employee discussed her views on sexual orientation, which align with the Roman Catholic Church, with students who were hanging up posters on the subject on April 14th. Can you imagine a professor speaking with students? about there being two genders. This is one of the most, I'm sorry to have to say this on air. I know there may be children listening. This is so profane. Cosette Carlio, one of the students involved, told the College Fix in a phone interview that the hate crime under investigation is, quote, denying transgenderism. I'm scared. Sorry. Carlio's account, her account of the account, agrees in part with an email by the husband of the employee with whom she tangled. She had great courage to face down this evil one. The employee told Carlio, who identifies as gender neutral, good demon, that only two genders exist, male and female. According to the student, Carlio told the Fix the statement was the hate crime in fact. Carlio responded that you can have your opinion as long as it doesn't deny my existence. Just like you can't deny man-made climate change or anything and pay their carbon taxes, or you'll have to be arrested, I'm afraid. Continuing. Outside reports of what happened differ. She told the Los Angeles Liolian that she and other students noticed that Rainbow Week posters had been removed and placed behind a garbage can. I'm sure it wasn't by them to run a false flag. As they were reposting the signs, the employee allegedly approached the students of the LGBTQ barbecue issues and voiced her opinions on differing sexualities, expressing that anti-LGBTQ signs should be put up in place of the student sign. Carlio told the Liolian that employees told me that I was wrong and unnatural. And opinion editor at the Liolian also referred to employees' traditional Catholic views as a hate crime, yes, denounce her, because it disrespected someone else's existence. It is well known that the whole transsexual movement started in the last 60 years, was basically pushed by groups of people that were preying on a lot of folks, in many cases, to confuse them about their sexuality. And a large portion of people that end up getting sex changes end up being very unhappy, very depressed, and committing suicide. And anytime you go and try to confuse and sexualize children, as they're now doing in public schools across the country, it is basically pedophilia. I don't care if it's heterosexual, transsexual, homosexual, whatever it is, Facebook with 50 different sexual preferences or identities is just meant to confuse the species. And I have the government documents, the admissions of this. And you see the cover of National Geographic transgender issue. The cover of National Geographic upcoming January issue has sparked outrage online for featuring children questioning their genders and spotlighting what they call a gender revolution. And this is the state coming in to confuse your kids when they're naturally discovering things when they're young. You're not teaching them about sex, because you're not supposed to until they hit puberty. The state's coming in and doing it. The article's titled, Making a Man, Dangerous Lives of Girls and Rethinking Gender. The publication is dedicating their entire first issue of 2017 to the single topic of shifting landscape of gender. That's how you kill honeybees. It's how you kill fire ants. You go in, you put chemicals in to confuse the genders. This is a weapon system. I put this in my film Endgame, and in Endgame 2.0, not to be confused with Endgame 2, and it shows the government documents in the 60s where they said they do this, according to press release. And it shows a little boy who thinks he's a girl. And he says the best thing about, this is I don't have to pretend I'm a boy anymore. The best thing about being a girl is now I don't have to pretend I'm a boy. Internet users were quick to share their disappointment over the magazine's editorial decision. But see, Nat Geo, again, is total social engineering, anti-gun, anti-family, eugenics program. And they want to sexualize your children and get in there and get at them for this programming. This is an admitted program. China would never allow this. They execute you if you're homosexual. I'm not saying you should do that because they see it as a destabilization program. Fidel Castro would put gays in prison. But the left loves them. Just like they love Islam.